Welcome back to the Federal Retirement Show. I'm your host, Val Majewski with American Benefits Exchange. And as always, really appreciate you taking the time out of your busy schedule to join us, to view our content. That's what it's here for. It's for you, the federal employee that's looking for accurate information when it comes to your benefits and retirement information. And we're getting close towards the end of the year. Hopefully everybody had a wonderful Thanksgiving. And we're going to finish 2025 with a three-part series. And today's topic or today's title is called the TSP Journey. And we're going to be going over part 1 today. In the coming weeks, you'll see parts 2 and 3 as we close out 2025. But we want to take you on that journey. What does TSP look like when you start your career? What does TSP look like as you're moving through your career and into retirement? And what should TSP do for you when you finally do retire? So let's dive into today's content and talk about the TSP journey. So as I said, this is a 3-part series, and these will be shortened videos. I just want to take you on this trip with me because I get a lot of questions, a lot of concerns, a lot of people asking about what's the TSP, or what should I do with my TSP, or how do I maximize my TSP, or how do I set myself up the best way possible with my TSP for retirement. And I've mentioned this before. Planning for retirement is not like cramming the day before for a test. You can't do it last minute. Even though they give you some certain provisions like catch-up contributions and things like that, planning with your TSP is not something that you're going to do the last minute. It is a long game, and we'll get into that a little bit today. So I want to take you on this journey of what it looks like when you start your career, no matter what age you start, or if you've never started with your TSP, maybe today is day 1, and what will it look like as you get going through your working career. So the first part of TSP, the first journey or step that you take, this is going to be called the accumulation phase. Now, people might call it different things, but for you, this is when you're starting to build up the money in your TSP. You're starting to build that retirement nest egg. You're starting to take advantage of everything the government gives you. Now, what is it? If you go back to our previous content when we talk about TSP, TSP is the government's version of your 401k. Okay, it's subject to 401k rules, but it is one of your 3 retirement income sources. This is very important because when it comes down to figuring out the calculation for your pension and how much Social Security is going to contribute, TSP ultimately, for a lot of federal employees, at least the ones that I talk to, is going to carry the biggest amount of weight, the most weight when it comes to retirement income. So why not maximize, take advantage of everything the government gives you over the course of your career so that when you are in the accumulation phase of TSP, you're maximizing efforts, you're optimized, you're setting yourself up for success. Now, there's 2 different buckets that you can put money into. There's the traditional and the Roth bucket. These just depend on when you want to be taxed. Do you want to be taxed now or later? The traditional bucket is pre-tax dollars, means you're going to be taxed on every dollar you put in, plus the interest you earn when you end up withdrawing the money down the road. The Roth bucket means you're getting taxed on the money today, and in the end, all the money you put in plus the interest you earn will come out tax-free. When do you want to be taxed? Now or later? One of the biggest factors is the 5% match with your TSP. This is a big mistake that I see federal employees make, is not maximizing that. We'll talk about that here in a little bit. Contribution limits for 2026, they increased them. Now, we did an episode on those limits being increased, but just to take advantage of it, the most that you can put in to your TSP in 2026 is $24,500 per year. For those that are 50 and older, you have catch-up contributions. They increase those to $8,000 per year. And if you're in this sweet spot of age 60 to 63, you're in the super catch-up contributions, and you can put in $11,250 on top of the normal contribution, the $24,500. So there are opportunities for you to put in not only just the 5% matching to get the most of free money that the government gives you, but you can go above and beyond if you want to hit these limits and try to maximize the contributions. Now, when it comes to growing your TSP over time, not only should you contribute and put money in, take advantage of the free matching money that the government gives you, but there are different fund options that you can take advantage of that could increase your earning potential, right? These are ways in which you can get credited interest and see your account value grow in addition to your contributions. And these are the 6 different letters that hopefully everybody here is familiar with. And if you're not, I'll just give you a brief synopsis of these. But there's a G, F, C, S, I, and then L funds. The traditional 5, the G, F, C, S, and I, those are the traditional 5 funds. I'll get into the L funds in a second. G stands for government securities, or I can say it stands for guaranteed. This is the only fund that's guaranteed never to lose money, never had a losing month, a losing year in its history. This is the only 100% conservative fund that you have within TSP, meaning you can't lose any money. The F fund, F is a bond index fund. Generally speaking, it's a very conservative fund, but it has shown in the last couple of years that it can lose money. When inflation's really high, bonds are low. That's why the F fund lost over 12% a few years ago. Then we get into the stock funds, and that's where it starts with the C fund. The C is made up of large U.S. companies. It's supposed to mimic the performance of the S&P 500. So if you see that on TV, the S&P 500 is up or the S&P 500 is down, that means your C fund is most likely up or down, right? It's meant to mimic the performance of the S&P 500. The S stands for small. So this is small to medium-sized U.S. companies that are not in the S&P 500. And that's what this index tracks. So the C and the S are U.S.-based companies, small and large when you combine the two of those. And those are the stock funds when we're tracking U.S. companies within your TSP. I stands for international. This is made up of stocks of companies that are not in the U.S. And these are international companies. So you've got the C, S, and the I. Those are the 3 stock funds. You can check out the performance of those on tsp.gov. You can see how all of the funds have done. And just based on your risk tolerance and what you think is going to work the best, you can choose your allocation strategy. The reason why I say that is because TSP is an administered account. It's not a managed account. You do not have somebody from TSP that should, manage your account and give you investment advice, things like that. I will tell you, if you get a phone call like that saying, hey, we're from TSP, we want to help you manage your money, hang up immediately because it's going to be a fraudulent call. That does not happen. TSP does not manage your money or give you investment advice. They simply administer your TSP account. Then there's the L funds. L stands for life cycle. And I'm going over briefly all these, right? If you want to dive deeper into it, reach out to us. We can certainly assist. I'll mention the contact information here at the end of this episode. But L stands for life cycle. And there are numerous life cycle funds. Each life cycle fund is made up of all the other funds. So no matter which life cycle fund you will have a portion in the G, the F, the C, the S, and the I. How much you have of each of those depends on which fund you're in. The more closer you are to this year, we're in 2025. If you're in the L income, that's going to be the most conservative L fund. If you're in the L 2075, you're going to be in the most risk-taking L fund, right? Most of the allocation is going to be in the C, S, and I. So just if you're in the L funds, understand this is not separate from the other funds. It's basically like a mutual fund, if you will, made up of all the other 5 funds. And how much of each you have, you can go to tsp.gov. You can see that, what each L fund is made up of, and how that allocation is going to change over time. That's what the L funds do. So just understand the ability for you to choose how you invest your TSP funds based on the funds that are available and what your overall risk tolerance is. So the benefits of your TSP, and this is what we were talking about earlier. How do you maximize your opportunity here? Number 1, start early, start right away, and set a goal and stick to it, right? If you have a goal, I have a lot of people say, I want to hit to $1 million. I want to get to $2 million. I want to get to this. I want to get to that. Or I want TSP to generate X amount of income for me in retirement. You've got to start early, remain consistent with your TSP, set that goal and stick to it. And if you overachieve, great. You can reset your goals as you go, but start by staying consistent and staying with that goal in mind. Maximize the government matching. This is a big mistake I see federal employees make, is not taking advantage of the free money the government wants to give you. So they'll match up to 5% of your salary. If you put in at least 5%, you're maximizing the government matching, which is the best kind of money that I know of, which is free money. I said, stay consistent because this is a long-term strategy. The time value of money, there's so many different illustrations that you can find out there regarding the time value of money. for people that start earlier, they end up having to not put in as much because over time, that eighth wonder of the world, compound interest, kicks in. And now you've got this retirement nest egg that is built upon itself all over the years because you started super early. So take advantage of it, start early, remain consistent, and track your progress. If you set that goal at the beginning and you're not hitting it, well, maybe you've got to put in more. Or if you're overachieving, great. Maybe you reconsider that goal and increase it, right? You go with a higher goal, you reprioritize, or maybe now situations have changed. You lived in a different area when you started. Now you live in a spot where maybe the cost of living is higher, or maybe now you're married, you have family, kids, grandkids, whatever, and you need to have a higher goal to set. This is the way that people can maximize, take advantage of, and do the best they can within their TSP. Yes, this is general guidance. It's not specific to your situation. So what I will say is that if you have specific questions about your TSP and setting it up properly for you, for your family, for your situation, reach out to us. Go to our website. It's federalretirementshow.com. Fill out the form. One of our experts across the country, if it's not me personally, will be reaching out to schedule time to go over your personal situation, answer all of your questions, not just about TSP, but about your entire benefit situation. This is part one of the TSP journey. Be sure to look out for parts 2 and 3. Get notified when they come out. But if you like our content, go and view the previous episodes that we have. We have so many, over 150 for you to look into, to browse, to look at all that content. And if you like it, not only get notified about our new episodes, but share this with a friend, a colleague, somebody else that you think will really benefit greatly from viewing the Federal Retirement Show. Well, again, my name is Val Majewski. You're on the TSP journey with me. This is part 1. Be sure to check out parts 2 and 3. Talk to you soon.